Hello again, rail fans, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're checking out another Ohio railfanning hotspot, this one situated around 50 miles north of Columbus, the city of Marion. Marion sits at the intersection of three double-track main lines. The CSX Columbus sub runs north and south, the NS Sandusky sub runs parallel, and the CSX Indianapolis line runs east and west, intersecting the other two. This makes for a total of 8 diamond crossings. There are also 2 yards in Marion, one being the NS yard, which is slightly north of the diamonds, and the other is the CSX yard on the Indianapolis line, which you can see from the station. And speaking of the Indianapolis line, here comes a manifest train heading eastbound on track 1. The fact that there are 3 main lines running through Marion means that you're bound to see lots of action on any given day, with the NS trackage supposedly having the most trains out of all 3. Looking north on the Columbus line, you can see on track 2, the right track, there's a high green signal, meaning something's about to come north. But that train doesn't have priority. Instead, Intermodal train number I-008 has been routed through first. He's bound for North Bergen, New Jersey. Between all three lines sits a sizable Union Station. Built in 1902, it served three major railways: the Chesapeake and Ohio, the Erie-Lackawanna, and the New York Central. The Chesapeake and Ohio used the tracks that are now the Columbus sub, whereas the other two railways shared the line that is now the Indianapolis sub. The Norfolk and Western also came through town by means of what is now the NS track, but the trains did not stop here. Thanks to a restoration project in the 1980s, you can now go inside the station and see it in its former glory. The waiting room looks pristine, and there are even some former New York Central tri-light signals on display, as well as some historic switchboards. If you want to learn more about the station, you can visit the Marion Union Station Association website, which is linked in the description. While I was inside the station, a southbound NS Intermodal showed up. Beside the station, you can find an Erie-Lackawanna caboose on display. Beside the caboose, there's also a classic signal tower. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Remember that clear signal for Track 2 on the CSX that we saw earlier? Well, now that train is clear for the Diamond. It's a local train numbered H792, which starts in Columbus and then heads north to Marion. After a little while, a medium approach signal appears on Track 2 of the NS Sandusky. And it wasn't long before an NS grain train showed up running on an approach signal. We heard on the radio that this train was going to meet the next one right around here, and sure enough, here it came. It was coal train number 798, and I think I might have lost a few years of hearing on this one. So as you might have noticed, the switching tower, called AC Tower, offers great vantage points for both the NS and CSX Indianapolis lines. AC Tower was built in 1902 by the New York Central, which you can tell due to the trademark green stilts. CSX took over the tower operations after the merger until 1995 when the tower closed. After the tower was donated to the Marion Union Station Association, it reportedly cost $40,000 to move the building from its old location to the new location next to the station. It also lost 11 feet in height because the crane on the station side wasn't tall enough to reach its original 24-foot height. Despite this, AC Tower is still a great-looking building, and I'm glad that rail fans can still enjoy it today. The next train is infamous in Marion. It's Q216, a daily Autorack train that stops in Marion to work the yard. However, the yard only has an entrance on the east side, so 216 will block all 3 lines for the next hour and a half. Local train H792 was the first train that had to wait for 216 to pass. Here he comes on his southbound trip back to Columbus. Meanwhile, an NS SD60 was doing some switching duties on the outskirts of the NS yard. At the same time, 216 finished working the yard and headed out eastward. Next up, we have an advance approach signal for a manifest coming north on track 1 of the NS Sandusky. And as an added bonus, we got a visit from a southbound CSX empty coal train. After that, the same SD60 from earlier pulled a local train south on the NS line. It's number L38 and it's based out of Bellevue. Next came an eastbound manifest on the CSX line, pulled by an EMD engine, and one of their newest at that. And last up for the day, we have a loaded coal train coming north on the CSX line. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button or leave a comment and share with your friends. It's always appreciated. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 1,000, so let's keep it going. Special thanks to my friend Desmond from DM Truck Spotting for helping me produce some of the shots in this video. Anyways, folks, I think that's all I've got for you today, so I will see you all next time. Have a great day, and remember to stay safe out there.